Buckeye fans. This is the Bucknuts Morning 5 on January 21st, 2015. I am Dave Biddle, and I'm joined by the queen of Columbus sports media, Lori Schmidt, from 97.1 The Fan. Lori, welcome into the show. Thank you very much for your time. And do you like the nickname?
I'm always glad to be joining you.
And do you like the nickname?
Oh, the Queen of Columbus Sports? Yeah, I don't think it fits any other reporter in Columbus, at least not that I can think of.
Well, I think you're the perfect fit for it, and I'm big on nicknames, Lori. Nicknames are a very important part of life. Getting down to brass tacks, I get asked this question all the time by Buckeye fans, and now I get to ask you the question: who will be Ohio State's starting quarterback next season, and why?
If I had to put money on it, I would say J.T. Barrett. I think that Braxton Miller's injury, it's just, I don't know where he'll be at next year. And plus, J.T. Barrett is the guy that was still giving pregame pep talks before the Big Ten championship game and the Sugar Bowl and the national championship. He's the quarterback the players want to follow. And we've seen what he did during the regular season. He was a Heisman-capable quarterback. So I think he's the guy. I also think that Cardale, he can make a big change in that this spring, as he will be the only quarterback in rotation from those three.
It's a great problem to have. It's like, how do you bench the guy who was the Big Ten quarterback of the year, freshman of the year, broke Drew Brees' record for total touchdowns in a season with 45, 34 passing, 11 rushing, and of course being J.T. Barrett. How do you bench that guy? How do you bench the guy who just led you to the national championship, and played well, didn't just skate by, and Cardale Jones? It's a great problem to have. My prediction is that Cardale Jones will start the season off as the starter, but I think, again, how do you bench J.T. Barrett? I think Urban might have to go to the dreaded two-quarterback system to some extent. And I know the old cliche.
Well, he's made that work.
Go ahead.
He's made that work before. I mean, He's shown that he can use two quarterbacks and do it effectively. And Cardale Jones and J.T. Barrett play different enough games that I think you can use them to complement one another, more so than, say, Braxton Miller. So I think you could make a two-quarterback system with those guys work. Now, one of the questions that I have is, which receiving core do they have that better suits which quarterback? You don't have Devin Smith next year. And I think Michael Thomas has some Devin Smith-like capabilities, but I also think that Devin Smith can do an intermediate route. So I think that his game fits both quarterbacks.
Urban has run a two-quarterback system before at Florida, and, and they did obviously win the national championship. That was a little different because Tim Tebow kind of ran a, very specific role, and he just kind of came in, kind of a cameo role, would usually come in and run right up the middle like a fullback, or he would do the jump pass. But I think Urban, if anybody can do it, Urban can do as far as running, a traditional, if there is a such term as a traditional two-quarterback system. But we might see it. We might see it next year, because I don't know how you bench either one of those guys. So this is a debate that will rage on throughout the offseason, which gives us something to talk about, Lori.
Well, one more thing on this point, Dave. And I can't believe, if you'd said this a couple months ago, I might not have believed you. But these guys are both mature enough to accept whatever role they're given. And I think
great point. They really are. Yeah.
That's a remarkable turnaround for Cardale Jones to be able to say that now.
Absolutely, and I've been really, taken aback, not anymore, but the first few times I interviewed Cardale, because they kept him away from us, as you know. If the listeners don't know, we didn't get a chance to interview Cardale at all until this year and until really after the Wisconsin game, and then they've made him available a few times. Of course, they had to make him available, in New Orleans and Dallas, so we really got to know him a little better, and the first few times we interviewed him, his maturity and his intelligence really jumped out at me. This guy was really mislabeled because of a tweet, and if we were all defined by our worst moment, we wouldn't want to be defined by that. So I think Cardale's really proven that he is a mature guy. So moving on, I want to get a couple questions about Urban Meyer. I want to throw your way. We've covered him for 3 seasons now, 3 full seasons. Is there anything about him that has surprised you?
He doesn't blink. The man does not blink. I think he's a robot, Dave. Sometimes I think he's a robot.
he's a very successful robot. I never noticed that. I've told him, I love the guy, but one thing I make fun of sometimes, he's a low talker. You ask him a question, you're not right there. I mean, it's kind of sometimes hard to hear what he says because he's the old Seinfeld. He's a low talker. He talks in a very, soft voice sometimes, and can't really hear what he says. But I've never noticed that he doesn't blink. I'll have to check this out. Okay,
yeah, watch a YouTube video of him. It's kind of scary. To be honest, though, the thing that I think that surprises me the most is that he has been able to untangle himself from the big picture. Remember when he was at Florida, one of the things that he said that really caused him to burn out was that he was too involved in trying to get colleges to patrol agents and change rules and and he's kind of pulled back from that being that big picture guy to being a guy who's taking care of his little picture.
Very well said. And another question I get a lot regarding Urban Meyer, how many more years will he coach at Ohio State? And I know I'm asking you just to kind of have a shot in the dark here, but give me your educated guess here. How many more years do you think Urban Meyer will coach at Ohio State?
If I had to guess, David, this is all it is a guess. I would say 5 or 6 more, and then I would not be surprised to see him test the NFL waters.
Nice segue. That was going to be my next question. 5 or 6 years, that makes a lot of sense to me. He already has the national championship in his back pocket. I thought he needed at least win one. And I think if he wins another one, he could step away after winning 2. Now, if it's next year, I don't think he's going to step away after just 4 years. Then he would shoot for a third, I think. But I think maybe 7 years max. I think 10 years total at Ohio State is probably the max of what we're looking at. And I think what you said, I think you hit the nail on the head. I think probably 5 or 6 more years is the sweet spot. And again, nice segue. You know this business a little bit, Lori. He was asked recently.
They don't call me the queen of sports for nothing.
That's right. You're the queen of sports, Columbus sports media. I mean, you don't get these. I don't throw around titles lightly. Trust me. And he was asked. This is the first time that he has even really broached this topic with more than no, I'm not interested. He was asked, is the NFL in your future? And he said, not right now. And that told me, wow, man, not right now. He's at least thrown it out there that he would consider it in the future. So you think the NFL is a distinct possibility for Urban Meyer down the road?
Definitely. I don't think he would throw something like that out there unless he was putting chum in the waters. Because if you think about it, that's a pretty, I don't want to say reckless, but that is a statement that could be held against him in recruiting. So the fact that he would still be willing to put that out there says to me that there has to be a reason that he's doing it. And the reason he has to be doing it is to let NFL personnel know that, yeah, you can give me a phone call.
Very well said. Great insights from the queen of Columbus sports media, Lori Schmidt. You can read her blog at fearthehat.com. Again, that is fearthehat.com. You can catch her all the time on 97.1 The Fan, and you can always find her asking good questions at press conferences. Lori asks excellent questions at press conferences, let me tell you. Lori, thank you very much for your time this morning. I really appreciate it.
I am just glad to be covering a team that wins a championship with fully inflated balls, Dave.
Nice parting shot, good lady. Thanks to all the listeners out there. I hope you have a great day. Take it away, best damn band in the land.